it feels like every day there's something new happening with these large language models.
Yeah.
It's incredible all the things they can do already.
It is.
Like they can write, they can
Yeah.
translate, they can even code. But,
Yeah.
it still feels like they don't really think the way that we do.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not quite.
But you sent over this paper
I did.
about
ReAct.
ReAct.
Yes.
Which seems to be getting LLMs to reason through things.
Right, yeah.
And actually take action based on that reasoning.
Exactly.
So let's dive into this a little bit.
It's a pretty big deal because what it's really trying to do is solve one of the key issues with a lot of the large language models that we see today.
Okay.
They're either good at figuring things out,
Right.
like with chain of thought prompting,
Yeah.
or they're good at doing specific tasks.
Right.
But what we really want
Yeah.
is we want them to be able to do both.
At the same time.
Yeah, at the same time. And this is kind of how we operate in the real world, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Like we're constantly thinking and adjusting what we're doing based on what's happening around us.
like I'm thinking to talking right now.
Exactly.
At the same time, hopefully.
Exactly.
So what kind of like real world implications are we talking about here?
So the researchers behind ReAct,
Okay.
they use a good example of cooking.
Okay.
So if you're following a recipe
Uh-huh.
and you realize you're out of an ingredient,
Yep.
you don't just stop right.
You don't just give up.
You don't just give up.
Right.
You reason through it.
Well, I would try to figure out something
Exactly.
to replace it.
Yeah, so okay, I need something salty.
Right.
Maybe soy sauce would work?
Yeah.
And then you would adjust your actions accordingly.
Uh-huh.
So LLMs need that same kind of flexibility.
So like walk me through this.
Okay.
Why is it such a breakthrough to have an LLM that can do both of these things?
Okay, so imagine an LLM that could help you book a flight. And I don't mean just search for flights,
Right.
but actually understand your preferences, like your budget, your travel dates, your preferred airlines, and then reason through all the options
Right.
to find the best fit.
Okay.
It could even handle things like seat selection,
Wow.
baggage fees,
All while explaining why it's doing what it's doing.
all while explaining the thought process to you.
So like no more spending hours on those websites.
Exactly.
That sounds great.
So it sounds like
Yeah.
ReAct is really trying to bridge this gap
Okay.
between how LLMs operate now
Uh-huh.
and how we as humans think and solve problems.
So the problem is that they're kind of stuck in their own heads.
Yeah.
A little bit.
The problem with current LLMs
Mm-hmm.
is that they often either rely on internal knowledge that might be incomplete or inaccurate,
Right.
or they're just blindly taking actions
Mm-hmm.
without a solid thought process.
Okay.
And this can lead to some pretty strange or nonsensical results.
So the million-dollar question,
Yes.
how does ReAct actually fix this?
Okay.
Is it some super complicated new algorithm?
It's actually, the brilliance of ReAct really is in its simplicity.
Okay.
It builds on the idea of chain of thought prompting,
Uh-huh.
where you give the LLM examples of how to solve a problem,
Step by step.
step by step, including the thought process.
Okay.
But ReAct takes this a step further
Okay.
by allowing the LLM to generate not just reasoning steps, but also specific actions,
I see.
all kind of mixed together in a way that makes sense for whatever that task is.
So it's like giving the LLM a playbook.
Exactly. And each play
Yeah.
includes the strategy and the specific moves.
Okay, got it.
So one of the cool things about this is
Yeah.
that it's super intuitive for humans
Okay.
to provide these examples.
Uh-huh.
We just have to write out our own thought process
Right.
alongside the actions
Like
we
it.
take.
Yeah.
So for example,
Yeah.
I need to find a good Italian restaurant nearby.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll search online for best Italian restaurants near me.
Right. Makes sense.
Something like that.
So we're teaching the LLM
Yeah,
to think out loud.
exactly, while it's working.
Okay.
But how well does this actually work in practice?
Yeah.
So to find that out,
Mm-hmm.
the researchers tested ReAct on a bunch of different tasks.
Okay.
And the results are exciting.
Okay.
They started with what they called knowledge-intensive reasoning tasks.
Okay.
Things like answering multi-step questions and
Oh.
verifying facts.
Okay.
And for these tasks, they gave ReAct access to a simplified version of Wikipedia.
Okay. So now
Yeah.
it can actually go look things up
Exactly.
instead of just relying on
Right.
whatever it thinks it knows.
Internal knowledge that might be limited.
Right. Which could be outdated
Out of date. Exactly.
or just wrong.
Or just wrong.
So it's like having a research assistant
Exactly.
built right into the LLM.
Yeah, you got it.
And what did they find when they did that?
They found that ReAct was much more accurate in its reasoning.
Mm.
and less likely to just make stuff up.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Make stuff up.
Yeah.
That sounds...
Concerning?
Yeah, a little concerning.
Yeah. So it is unfortunately...
Very common problem.
It is a common problem.
With LLMs.
Yes.
Okay.
We call this hallucination.
Okay.
In the world of AI.
Uh-huh.
It's when an LLM generates information that isn't actually supported by facts.
So it's like when I misremember something or combine different memories?
Yes.
To make up a new one?
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
It happens.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it sounds like being able to access that external knowledge is a big advantage for ReAct.
Definitely.
Because it helps ground the reasoning in reality.
Exactly.
And reduce those hallucinations.
Right.
But were there any downsides?
That's a great question,
Okay.
and one that the researchers explored. So it turns out there's a balance to be struck between accessing external information and maintaining that flexibility of internal reasoning.
Okay.
So it's not a magic solution.
Okay.
You know, just because it has access to Wikipedia doesn't mean it knows how to use it effectively.
Right. It's like giving somebody a library card.
Exactly.
But not teaching them how to actually find books.
Right.
Or how to read.
Or how to read. Exactly.
They have all the knowledge.
Yeah.
But they don't know how to use it.
And that's where that reasoning component of ReAct is crucial.
Okay.
Because it's not enough to just have access to the information.
Mm-hmm.
The LLM needs to be able to ask good questions.
Right.
Understand the information that it finds.
And put it all together.
And weave it all together into a coherent thought process.
So how do they even measure that?
So it gets a little technical.
Okay.
But basically they looked at the thoughts that ReAct generated as it was working through these tasks. And they were looking for certain patterns that indicated good reasoning. Things like breaking down complex questions into smaller parts.
Got it.
Picking out the most important information from Wikipedia and actually using logic to arrive at the answer.
So like peeking inside its brain?
Exactly, seeing how the gears are turning.
And what did they find? Yeah.
So the results were really encouraging.
Okay.
Especially when it came to understanding and using that external knowledge. ReAct definitely showed signs of real, genuine reasoning.
Okay.
It wasn't perfect, though.
Of course.
Sometimes it would get stuck in these repetitive loops or hit a dead end when it couldn't find the information that it was looking for.
So it's still a work in progress.
Definitely a work in progress.
But heading in the right direction.
But moving in the right direction.
Didn't they combine ReAct with something else?
Yes.
To try and boost its performance?
So they realized that relying solely on external knowledge could be limiting in some cases.
Right.
You know, there are situations where you might not have access to the internet.
Right.
The task itself might require more internal reasoning.
Right.
So they decided to combine ReAct with a technique called self-consistency.
Oh, yeah.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, remind me how that one works.
Okay, so it's actually a pretty clever idea.
Okay.
You have to remember that LLMs are probabilistic.
Okay.
Meaning they can generate different responses to the same prompt.
Right.
So self-consistency takes advantage of that.
Okay.
By having the LLM come up with several different solutions to a problem.
Got it.
Each with its own chain of thought. And then basically it takes a majority vote to come up with the final answer.
So it's like getting a second or third opinion from the same LLM.
Yeah.
Got it.
So,
and does that actually help?
It does. It significantly improves the accuracy on these knowledge-intensive reasoning tasks.
Wow.
Even beating out methods that just use self-consistency alone.
So it's like the best of both worlds.
It really is the best of both worlds.
You've got that fact-checking power of the ReAct.
Yes, and then the robust reasoning of self-consistency.
Nice.
So
that's a lot to love.
It seems like they actually cover for each other's weaknesses.
Okay.
When ReAct struggles to find information externally, it can lean on self-consistency. And when self-consistency is unsure about an answer, ReAct can go out.
And get more information.
And gather more evidence.
Nice teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Okay, so all this is fascinating in like a research setting. But how would ReAct actually work in a real-world scenario? Like, you know, online shopping,
They tested it on this task called web shop.
Okay, yeah.
And that's where...
Tell me more about this.
That's where things get really interesting. Because web shop is a much more challenging, dynamic environment than those knowledge reasoning tasks.
Okay.
It requires the LLM to really understand and interact with real-world language to navigate a website, to make decisions.
Based on incomplete information?
Exactly.
Oh, I'm hooked.
Okay.
Tell me more.
So imagine you're looking for something very specific online.
Okay.
Like a space-saving desk lamp with a warm light and a USB charging port.
Okay, got it.
ReAct had to learn how to navigate through all the categories, apply filters, and even read product descriptions to make sure it was finding...
So it's like a superpowered shopping assistant.
You could say that.
That's pretty cool.
What's impressive is that ReAct didn't just rely on keyword matching. It actually had to understand the nuances of language. Like the difference between a nickel finish and a silver finish, or what it means for something to be ergonomic.
Wow. Okay.
So it's pretty sophisticated.
Yeah, pretty sophisticated. How did it actually stack up against the other methods that were developed for these tasks?
It did really well.
Okay.
It outperformed.
Like, how well are we talking?
It blew them out of the water.
Okay.
ReAct significantly outperformed both imitation learning and reinforcement learning methods, which are the ones that are typically used for these types of tasks.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Back up for a second.
Okay.
ReAct, with just handful of examples, outperformed systems that had been trained on mountains and mountains of data.
Yeah. And that's...
How is that even possible?
That's the power of reasoning. Even with that simple level of reasoning that ReAct has, it gives it a huge advantage. Because instead of just copying patterns from the training data, it's actually trying to understand.
So it's learning.
It's learning.
Not just mimicking.
Exactly, which is really exciting.
That is really exciting.
Because it opens up so many possibilities.
Yeah.
It suggests that maybe we don't need these massive data sets to train LLMs for these really complex tasks.
Interesting.
If we can teach them to reason, they can learn much more efficiently. Then adapt to new situations.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
More quickly.
This whole ReAct thing.
It is pretty mind-blowing.
It's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah.
We've gone from LLMs that can, like, write poems to LLMs that can shop for you online.
Yeah.
All because they're starting to think a little bit more like we do.
What's fascinating to me is that this approach of combining reasoning and acting is so aligned with how we solve problems.
Yeah.
By giving LLMs the ability to think through those actions and actually use that external knowledge. We're not just making them more capable, we're making them more understandable.
That's huge.
And more trustworthy.
Yeah, and that's key if we want to actually be using them in the real world.
Yeah, if we want to build systems that collaborate with us and help us to solve
real problems.
Real world problems.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Imagine LLMs helping scientists discover new drugs.
That would be amazing.
Or engineers design better energy systems.
It's pretty limitless, the things that we could do.
Now you're getting me excited about the future.
It's a very exciting time.
So it seems like this research is a major step.
Yeah, I think so.
Towards
it is.
AI as a real partner.
Yeah, it's still early days, but it's definitely an exciting direction.
Well, deep divers, we've covered a lot of ground today exploring how this ReAct system is pushing the boundaries of what these large language models can do.
It really is.
We've seen how it combines reasoning and acting, how it tackles complex tasks from question answering all the way to online shopping. And it offers us this glimpse into a future where these AI systems can work alongside us. In more intelligent and intuitive ways.
Absolutely.
Keep exploring. Keep learning.
Definitely.
And who knows, maybe you'll be the one to teach an LLM.
You never know.
Solve the next big challenge.
Exactly.